Hey everyone, it's been friggin' ages since I last posted a video, and I've noticed a little bit on my previous diff bush videos where you guys sort of, you didn't get to see the cradle being removed from the car. There's a few questions on, if I could delve into that a little bit more. So I've got a cash job on at the moment with a BA Fairmont that's cooked to diff, so I'm actually dropping the cradle out of that right now. So it's not going to be a 15-minute long 3-part series. It's just going to be a quick look over what needs to happen and then just the footage of me actually dropping it onto the engine crane and pulling it out. It's just the way I found is the easiest way I found to do it. So I'll show you around the car, I'll show you what you need to undo, this and that, and we'll go from there. Oh, by the way, welcome to the new camera. I finally actually got a good camera where the sound works and the camera works and it doesn't run out of memory and it doesn't run out of battery. So yeah, a lot better quality footage to come in the future if I can get my act together and actually start making videos again. Or too familiar of a sight. So what I find is the best way when I set the car up, I leave the front on the floor and I just put axle stands under the jacking points at the back, and I've got to raise it up a little bit more. It just gives that tilt on the rear bumper here, so when I put the engine crane under, or just the legs of the engine crane, I just use the engine crane because the whole cradle will just sit straight on the trolley and you can roll the whole lot out rather than trying to skull drag this on the floor on that jack. So you lower it down with that jack, put a piece of wood between the actual diff, sort of between there and the rear frame of the cradle, and it sort of balances pretty well on that, and then you just sort of let it lower down onto the cradle and then you can just wheel it out. It's a lot easier than trying to wrestle it just on the trolley jack. But in terms of in here, obviously you have to remove your brake caliper, which I've already done. You have to remove the bottom of your shock, so I've already done that. You have to undo these 2 bolts for this control arm on the front. I find that's easier than trying to go up in there and undo where it fastens on the body. You then have to undo your ABS sensor, which is just a 8mm headed bolt. Just go straight in the top in there. The spring can pretty much stay in there. That might fall out when you go to lower it, but it's alright because that's the cradle as well, that comes down with it. And then it's just that bolt there, that nut, and then there's another one down here, that little cross brace right there for the focuses. Yes, you can either undo both of them or just undo it at one end and swing it around. That's what I usually do. This sway bar can stay exactly where it is. That just mounts on the cradle itself as well. And yeah, and then when we pull it out, I'll have to roll the knuckles over to pull the half shafts out so I can get the diff center out. And here's a new one that I picked up brand new from secondhand records today. When I say brand new, it's definitely not brand new. Just the M76 or M73 345 standard Falcon diff, non-turbo. Yeah, I'll do this side, I'll knuckle that out, and you'll see me again when it's time to pull the bastard out and put it on the floor. So there's some really obvious things I missed. Silly me, I'll just point them out. So I pointed out one of these studs and 2 of these studs, and then actually on this lower frame there there's a whole bolt there holding that in, and then there's also your handbrake cable. Last time I did this, I found the easiest way to do it was to just remove it from, there's like a little arm under here where it goes in. You just you make sure the handbrake's off in the car and you can just sort of hook it out with a pair of pliers. It's relatively easy. And then of course you're not going to be able to pull the diff down if the tail shaft's still attached, so you got to rip that out. There she is right there. So that is just, I think it's 6 10mm headed bolts. It's really important to note where the weights are on these. There's little weights that go on the back, you can see that one there. There's white things that go on the other end of the bolts. they are weights, and they are important so you don't get harmonic vibrations when you put it back together. Also mark where the CV bolts to the diff, so you try and get that orientation back together. I mean, obviously it's going to be a bit different for me because I'm changing the diff, but yeah, you know what I mean. Try and get the weights at least in the same spot relative to the tail shaft. Cool. There is one more sneaky little bolt I forgot to show you guys. I'll just point it out now because it is very sneaky. So if you just make your way underneath the vehicle, and then here's the K-frame here, and then right up in there he is. You can see that little bolt goes in the side of like the carrier for the diff bush. So yeah, he's just hanging out up there. Don't forget that, because that's attached to the top of the car. I mean the top of the underneath of the car, the ceiling of the floor of the car, if you will. Turns out there's a exhaust mount rubber, exhaust hanger that mounts on the K-frame as well. Forgot about that because it was on my Typhoon. That one was deleted because of the aftermarket exhaust. And there's also a handbrake cable mount, like a little clamp over thing with it just mounts like right on the side of the diff. Don't forget that one either. I'm sorry if there's wind noise, it's really windy here right now. But I've got the cradle out. Here it is. What I ended up having to do is, because I couldn't find my spring compressors anywhere, so I got that there's scissor jack out of the boot. So it's the factory scissor jack for the car. And I just jammed it in between this control arm and just the top of the K-frame, and undid this top control arm here, just to give it a bit more flex. And then yeah, just wound it open under the car just to pull the springs out. And then once the springs are out of both sides, it's just able to collapse, and it just clears the mud guards and just pull it straight out the bottom. Not too bad at all. You can see now, here's the main diff bush. This is the Achilles heel of these vehicles. These are the ones that always flog out. This one actually looks alright, so I'm going to run it again. Being a non-turbo automatic, it doesn't really cop it too bad. So to get the diff out, we'll undo one of these arms. Then I undo this one, because that bolt that's missing there was one of the ones that had to come out just at the end there. It had a little bracket that was holding the handbrake cables on to the diff there. And yeah, so they're popped up obviously, top control arms, and you just give the wheel knuckles a yank on each side and it pops the half shafts out of the diff. And then yeah, so I'll just take off this support arm here, undo it there as well, remove that arm so I can shimmy that diff around, undo it off that, undo this one here, leave it on there though, you can just shimmy it out, rip it out, chuck that one in. While I'm here, I found the centre bearing underneath is completely written off, so the shops are closed now, so I'll have to get one in the morning, but that's alright. And then yeah, new diff goes in, cradle can go back in, happy days. And here we are in present day. Welcome to 2020. I think we're in May. So anyway, obviously that video was filmed a fair while ago. My hair was a shitload shorter and I didn't have any fluff on my face. But anyway, ended up moving into a new house. Here we are, all moved in. Got an awesome little enclosure out the back for playing in. The shed, of course, I'm referring to. But to finish off that video, obviously changed the diff and reassembled in reverse order. I just wanted to touch on a few things, obviously from my previous videos where I didn't quite film the removal of the K-frame. I would have loved to, under different circumstances, be able to film all of that a little bit better. It would have been awesome if I had a second person to be able to film for me, but you know, this is all about learning and you know, improving through the whole capture and edit and all that sort of side of it. I've got the mechanical aptitude, that's not a drama, it's just getting it to you guys or it doesn't look like too many smoke and mirrors have happened. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you got any questions at all, just hit me up in the comments below, or send me a message or whatever you bloody want. And yeah, I'll do my best to help you out. Anyway, have a good one guys, we'll see you next time. We're doing some Toyota gearboxes next, so that's going to be exciting for the both of us. Anyway, thanks guys, crapped on enough, catch you later.